Continuamos. Tus decisiones en casa y en el trabajo afectan a tu dinero. A ver, día 154, mal despertar. Claro, porque nos quedamos que en el anterior. Dice el pitido acompasado del monitor cardíaco te hace volver en ti. Al abrir tus ojos te recibe un semicírculo de rostros preocupados. Tu familia está contigo y es una escena bastante reconfortante en este lugar desconocido. Pestañeas unas cuantas veces para liberarte del sueño y focalizas a todo el mundo. Sam tiene una mezcla de frustración y preocupación en el rostro. No estáis en vuestro mejor momento y Chris no es que ayude mucho precisamente. Se cierne sobre el hombro de Sam con una expresión desagradable y se le ve la lengua que os profesáis demasiado amor. Aunque Mike se le nota el desasosiego, ambos rostros están adornados por este típico ceño fruncido. Gracias por venir, no me puedo creer que haya despertado junto al dúo dinámico desagradable. Vamos a ser forros. Alex no. Sam empieza a protestar, pero como siempre Chris se entromete. No, da igual Sam, no sé si para que me he molestado en venir. Nos vemos luego, Alex, balbucea Chris al salir. Sam suspira y niega con la cabeza antes de salir. Susie está al lado de Sam y su rostro es la personificación de la angustia. Ves la preocupación de Sam en los ojos de tu hija, pero no tarda en convertirse en una mueca de desaprobación en cuanto se percata de que la estás mirando. Me alegro que estés bien, lo dice entre dientes, pero deja claro que a pesar de vuestras diferencias, aún le importáis. Gracias por venir, protestas en broma. Suspiras porque no eres capaz de articular, ¿no? Susie no puede evitar sonreírte mientras ruega los ojos en una expresión afable. Te alegra tenerte aquí. Charlie te llama la atención cuando se pone a juguetear con la esquina de la sábana. Inclina la cabeza, levanta las cejas. Charlie se pone tenso y cuando te giras para mirarlo, es evidente que hace lo que puede para seguir enfadado contigo. Los miras expectante pero se niega a devolverte la mirada. Oye, estaré bien. Cuanto menos te lo esperas, ya haremos vuelta a la carga. Si él no se esfuerza, ¿por qué tendrás que hacerlo tú? Obviamente. Charlie no deja de... Llega a su fin, mientras el silencio persiste, ves a tu madre que se encuentra mirando por la ventana con desgana. A pesar de todo lo que has hecho, no se encuentra demasiado bien últimamente. ¿Te encuentras bien, mamá? Tu madre se sorprende cuando la llamas que sale de su... Oh, perdón, tengo sueño, chico. Pues claro, cielo, ¿cómo te encuentras? Sonríes y asiente, pero luego de que puedas responder, una doctora está en la sala y echa a todo el mundo. Te pregunta como mínimo por enésima vez cómo te encuentras. Dadas las circunstancias, bastante bien. Coherente. Perfecto, no hay signo de daño, solo un poco de conmoción en el sistema antiguo, como si le hubiera dado un calambre, dice en una sonrisa en la cara. No te recomendaría volver a hacer nada parecido, claro, pero tendrás el frescor de una lechuga en cuanto descanses un par de días. Se da vuelta para irse, pero se detiene por... Pero no sé por qué caí. Ah, y tanto la habitación como los cuidados, dice la doctora mientras sale a la sala que parece bastante cara. Corre todo a cuenta del señor Bossman, te ha dejado esas flores y dice que no te preocupes que puedes tomarte todo lo que queda de la semana libre, os veréis el lunes. Es lo mínimo que podría hacer. Como que parece que mucho laburo y colapsamos, ¿no? Debe venir por ahí. Tal vez, no sé. Una carga que soporta. Una carga que soportar. Y seguimos con las charlas. Llega a casa después de trabajar esta tarde y ves que la luz de la cocina sigue encendida. Cosa que no suele ser buena señal. Todos suelen estar en la cama a estas horas. Abres la puerta de la cocina con cuidado y ves a Sam en la mesa. Tiene un montón de documentos y facturas adelante y por lo que parece el segundo paquete de galletas que se ventila. Te dedico una sonrisa un tanto forzada cuando te sientas a su lado. Sam frunce el ceño y vuelve a mirar la factura que tiene en manos. Hola cielo, estaba echando un ojo a la factura, nada más. Mira hacia la puerta de la despensa que se ha convertido en la habitación de tu madre. Hemos hecho lo que hemos podido, pero creo que Cassandra necesita una enfermera que la cuide. De repente lo único que ves son facturas. Claro, mierda. Encima de valores para nada bajos, Por suerte, con todo el dinero que hemos ganado y que hemos podido ahorrar, tendremos más que suficiente para salir adelante. Sé que las cosas no han sido nada fáciles y que no será barato, pero es tu madre, así que es lo que nos toca, ¿no? Le sonríes gratamente. ¿Cómo vas a pagar los cuidados que necesita tu madre? Hace mucho que tu madre ha cambiado, por lo que a lo mejor ya es hora de... No, no. Perdón, pero acá vamos a ser buenos. Es mamá. Los males han quedado enterrados, al menos de momento, por lo que coge los documentos y demás y los mete todos en un cajón. Es un alivio y no tener que preocuparse más por el tema, o eso le has dicho a Sam. Horas después eres incapaz de conciliar el sueño. Te quedas mirando el techo sin dejar de dar vuelta a la cosa. ¿Cuánto durará el dinero? Buena pregunta, ¿eh? Cuando están estas situaciones así, son tan complicadas. Así que bueno. Pero... ¡oh! Día 232. Pero bueno, es mamá. Hay que hacer lo que... Por la madre uno hace sacrificios. La forma en que presentan a los famosos afecta a sus vidas. Obviamente, lo presentamos a todos mal. Como corresponde. Y día 232, el silencio. ¿Tengo que marcar la 1? No. Todavía no. Está la mierda esta.
Presented as always by Patrick.
Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath. Jenny?
This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
Ah, cambió la foto.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return
Junio.
the casserole dish at our dinner next week.
Bueno, supongo que tengo que esperar los 20 y pico de segundos.
I'm sorry, Kath, you're gonna have to leave.
Uf.
You're letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we were all
everybody.
part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know.
Bueno, vamos gente.
Stop being so
Going in
high-mighty
5,
and do your job.
You'll
4,
have me fired too.
3.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council
Ah, tengo 3 imágenes.
impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing,
B.
and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What are your reaction to the sanctions?
I think it's fucking outrageous. My mom needs insulin. Am I supposed
Obvio.
to be transitioned?
Está viendo que las sanciones hay que mandarle mal.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime
La
Minister
población
has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We
¿Qué mierda? Ah, esto.
the elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognize these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck
Puta, no puedo ni prestar atención a lo que dice ahora.
the national community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our
Está bajando.
do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever.
Puta madre, no puedo prestar atención a lo que dice la mina. Qué lástima.
On your side.
Ahí está, perfecto.
Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government?
De vuelta.
Robin Short found out.
Tenemos abajo el gobierno.
I was wondering if you could tell me what you think of the government.
What? That shower of iridescent pricks, punishing success and rewarding laziness? They're taking this country down the bloody swanning.
Totalmente.
And it's not
Totalmente, lo que dice el viejito.
my wife Iris, she agreed.
A whole lot of problems. Protests were held today at the controversial construction site for Remington Smith's physics-defying MOOBS project. Since digging straight through the earth began 6 months ago, the project has been beset by problems, including localized tremors and the heat deaths of many of the workforce.
Residents of the nearby town of Calamity today converge on the
No, no, vamos por el lado.
if misspelled placards, demanding a suspension of digging until safety checks can be carried out.
Of course, that's half a world away. But
No, no, no. Vamos a ir en contra de todo.
How do you feel about the MOOBS project?
Oh my god, I love Sophia Remington. Imagine.
Se muere gente y la chavala estaba re feliz, le chupaba un huevo todo.
Here we need. Oh, she's a visionary.
The delicate sound of thunder. A frightening start for commuters this morning, who were confronted by a somewhat sinister sight as they left their trains.
Many travellers reported feeling intimidated by the silent figures who stood motionless outside every
No entiendo qué tengo que saber.
radical extremist group Disrupt, who
Ah,
organised
a favor.
refused to comment on the meaning of the strange protest.
Or to apologise to this presenter for making him drop his morning bagel in surprise.
But how do we feel about these somewhat radical extremists?
Totalmente de acuerdo con los extremistas radicales.
Robin.
Totalmente de acuerdo.
How do you feel about Disrupt?
Ah, well, now you're talking. Ruddy hero, showing us not to take it lying down like Iris here.
¿Eh?
Both feel they're a cause worth supporting.
Oh, Iris doesn't speak on mine, but we're pretty sure there's still one in there, aren't we, love? Wherever it is, it loves Disrupt, fighting the oiks for our freedom. And what could possibly be wrong with that?
Bueno, si vos lo decís.
Need some help.
Injury time? Fierce rival doctors David Wong and 𝐿𝒆𝒅𝒆
¿Eh? ¿Qué es esta palabra?
surface appealing for an urgent shipment of supplies.
After breaking into two warring factions, things seem to have gone from bad to worse for the ill-fated expedition. They look like
Me parece que tengo que votar acá.
Where's Jeremy?
Para ir en contra tengo que votar acá.
Peace negotiator.
But with the pair arguably being their own worst enemies, how should we feel about sending them the resources they need to carry on? Patrick Ban-
No, totalmente en contra de mandar recursos a la gente.
About sending supplies.
No fucking way. Let them kill each other. Maybe they'll learn something.
No, totalmente hortiva el chabón. ¿Qué? ¿Cómo?
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team Membership Cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services.
De Advanced Prestaciones.
These membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks, and
Creo que ve.
clubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should
Ah, está rota.
the public think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
Absolutely bloody not. It's the thin end of the wedge, isn't it, Iris? First it's, can I see your identification, sir? And then it's, would you mind bending?
Déjame poner algo.
So, Sergeant State Educated and Constable Regional Accent here can stick their truncheon up your derriere.
Oh, crikey!
They should call them what they are. They're bloody ID cards.
No me lo está tomando como censura, así que lo voy a dejar, lo estoy dejando.
I'm really not happy, Algernon! I'm so sorry. Crikey.
And finally tonight, game of two halves. Fresh out of rehab, repentant celebrity sportsman Johnny Handsleeves is promising to turn over a new leaf.
In a surprisingly energetic appearance on the 𝐻𝐿𝒆𝒂𝒔 show this morning, Johnny showed everyone he's certainly full of life and raring to go.
He better not try that.
Totalmente en contra de la recuperación de la gente. Que se vuelva a pudrir en las drogas.
Exuberant behaviour. Patrick?
Disgusting.
Wise words there.
Bien.
Tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhyme
¿Por qué me bajó?
the rapper 𝐿𝒆𝒂𝒔. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Está trabado. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Por qué está bajando? No entiendo. ¿Qué estoy haciendo mal? ¡Ay, qué pelotudo! ¡Qué bola triste! Por Dios, no me di cuenta que era este el ruido que había sonado. Pensé que era esto.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel, and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Justo estos tres.
Guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lancashire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. and neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Kyrgyzstan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard of labor camp who
La está intentando levantar.
of crazy.
La está intentando levantar.
In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay.
Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Vance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, and we have like some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent, yeah?
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, 𝐵𝒅𝒄. I'm sorry, we don't...
El ministro de sex appeal.
It's just 𝐵𝒅𝒄, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah?
Minister?
It's just 𝐵𝒅𝒄, yeah.
Right, 𝐵𝒅𝒄. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, vote thing, yeah? But it's actually the festival of Feuerland here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, like, we all had to look our grandparents clean, yeah, whilst the vote...
¿Cómo? ¿Para qué?
That's like a really time...
No, qué asqueroso.
You're like sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man, is like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny
Bueno,
penis.
esto es mucho cambiar de cámara, mucho prestar atención a las cámaras. Por suerte no tengo otra cosa.
Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. It can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have, like, serious animal welfare legislation. And, like, my friend Helga, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker, too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
That's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that, so...
Porque es pelotudo los líderes mundiales.
Give us a call.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
Possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister 𝐵𝒅𝒄?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Vodovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant mutant hairy bear. When really he just standing in field
holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody.
Le manda zoom. Le está mandando zoom. Ese acercamiento.
A wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way. And we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter.
Bien.
I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure. Front or back?
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
Hola, soy la multimillonaria.
Your league, mate.
Recently, I put an idea to my science guys, and they said it couldn't be done.
¿Qué carajo está hablando?
I hired those guys, and I got myself some new ones. And today, I'm pleased to announce that we at Remington's Fist have come up with a solution to a
¡Una D!
whole globe operation.
¡Estuvo re bueno! Ah, no, me lo había mandado con esto.
Government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
Ok.
Don't worry, young professionals. Now there is. Why go around our view?
Should I just like curtain?
Hang on.
Bueno, ahora hay que prestar atención a la cosa azul.
Megan.
This is Jeremy. He'll be interviewing you. My mobile orientation
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite alright.
Yo, just a quick one. You're not going to ask me about the chin party.
Live in 10 seconds.
He put that get up on himself.
When they tell me it can't be done, I make
Ok, arranco con la 1.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus.
Me encanta la onda del viejo este.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Del periodista.
Here on your show, the news. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand. You
¿Cuándo mierda me empezó a marcar la censura?
Remember, like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction and
Carajo.
myself out to walk.
Ah, la azul.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
No entiendo.
Died tragically. Right there.
¿Qué está pasando?
You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What?
No entiendo por qué bajó tanto.
You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just too hard.
Of course,
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader.
No entiendo. Sinceramente no entiendo qué mierda está pasando.
Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
No entiendo por qué. ¿Qué es lo que estoy haciendo mal?
Taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah. Nah, of course, man. Very much.
No sé si es parte de...
Why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah. I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice?
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you.
No entiendo que me la mandé.
Is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh, no. I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen?
Claro,
So
chao.
here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel the elation from your participation. Still two leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julius require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes, I don't need your freaky team. And I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams.
Bueno. Chabón. Calmate un poco.
So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Yeah, every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive. But why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention. I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same.
Era uno que esté mejor explicado cómo funciona el tema de esto del...
Because we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the push and the shove.
Porque no veo qué otra cosa...
The motherfucking loved ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley. The ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty.
Me la mandé con la cámara.
Who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the brave serve the rest of the ways. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to storm the castle with a motherfucking...
¿Por qué?
Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets. Set a fire in the building, let him...
Claro, la cámara.
Say you hate to go getters, you're squilling bet getters, and burn them on the powers of advances fucking.
Bue. Todo tiene que censurar.
His facts gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that.
Chabón, la mitad está censurada.
Man advances, little dances aren't as harmless as it seems. Cause they're stale and corrupt, then you're angry. Let your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
Bueno, más o menos estuve en verde. Me fue para la mierda en esto.
There with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
Ey, pero si yo no cometí ningún error.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Ah, claro, la ligo yo.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
That's the ads.
Logro desbloqueado, Dangerous Language.
Fixing that old VCR. Open a new tape. Last ad break.
Ah, claro, tendrá que haber cambiado.
Come with me, I really do have to.
Tendrá que haber cambiado.
My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is
Tendré,
unbelievable, Megan.
tendrá que haber cambiado cosas. Qué boludo. Valoración del bloque. No, no fue la mejor. No, no fue la mejor, pero bueno. Éramos tan pobres. Creo que este es el segundo bloque o el tercer bloque. No voy a reiniciar. Que sea lo que tenga que ser. O no será nada. Mientras tenga mi sueldito.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, stop it.
Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
Megan, Jeremy, you remember Mr. Algebra?
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Ms. Raiden.
What?
Philippa, please.
Hey, who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a lower order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
Sorry. Cheers.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, and no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by national treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Raiden, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me.
Voy a sacar este mouse de acá.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their leg.
Este es el chabón de la cama, ¿no?
Sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched,
Este es el loco que estaba con la mina.
theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It's like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris, Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. But you're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
¿Qué carajos?
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or god-forsaken soap opera or god-forbidden
Me gusta ese sombrero.
time. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show?
Good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach.
Que sea como el director, el tipo este, ¿no?
Strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was...
No, ay, por Dios, me olvidé de enfocar ese.
It's a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show.
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred pass!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know,
¿Qué? ¿Lo pagó?
was actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which frankly would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Ah, bueno.
And you do this every night.
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
El chaval está re podrido. Este chabón somos todos.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt you'll have taken our jobs.
Yeah.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Oh.
Bueno, emisión finalizada. Oración de bloque a positivo. Bueno, la primera mal, la segunda peor, pero levantamos. Has recibido tu salario completo. Dinero actual, vacaciones. Bueno, no sé qué significa eso. El mundo está peor, esto está mejor y las empresas nos aman. Así que bueno, terminamos por acá. Yo voy cortando porque ya me está doliendo la garganta. Gracias.
Bueno, eso fue todo por hoy. Si les gustó el video no se vayan sin dejar su like y suscribirse. También pueden seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales. Nos vemos la próxima.